Hey, Dustin from DG's here, back with another episode of DG's TV. You know, dozens of times a day we ask the question, what are you working on? The beauty of that question is the answer, and the answer means that DG's ProTech and our team probably have the parts to get you fixed up with whatever project you're working on. DG's ProTech has an interesting background story and where we came from. Remember, we're an automotive shop that has always specialized in those hard diagnostic, whether it be your gasoline car, right up to your diesel pickups, and really going into the root of some deeper jobs that a lot of other general repair shops don't touch on. Interesting enough, that's allowed us to build up a wealth of experience and vendor list and finding difficult to source parts that typically were only dealer only just a few short years ago. Problem with that is twofold though. One, you don't want to end up with an inferior part just because it's readily available and cheap. Two, you want to end up with a part that has at least OEM standards for warranty and quality while still being comparable in price. Hey, we've hit it. DG's team now incorporates a full-time parts team and full wholesale stock in-house, which means we're stocking a few $100,000 of parts that you'll be able to give us a call on and we can simply supply next day to you. Now, who is you? Well, you could be an automotive shop that finds yourself in need of some of these hard parts. You may find yourself an individual trying to get that project done and just in need of some parts, or just someone that does a little bit of that work from a mechanic standpoint that doesn't want to go to the dealer. So let's give you a few examples of what those parts might be. If we're talking diesel, we might be talking about a diesel injector. Now, the one I hold in front of me is an OEM supplied diesel injector by a company called Alliant Power. If you've never heard of Alliant Power, it's just one of the many companies we deal with. Bosch, Standardine, Delphi, or some other injector or diesel injector supply companies. Alliant Power, interesting enough, is actually the OEM injector supplier for International Navistar and in some cases for diesels as well, which means that's the injector that the dealer is supplied that simply has, in this case, Ford Motor Company stamped in it. But Alliant Power created that for Ford Motor Company. So therefore, if we can buy it direct from Alliant Power like we do, then we can simply have just as good as OEM quality at a better price, and it's in stock and available to you, the customer, today. Okay. Another example of this would be Bosch Injectors. You know, if you're dealing with your Duramax and your Cummins applications, you're going to be wanting to deal with Bosch Injectors. Rather than simply stepping to an inferior aftermarket part, if we can supply you with a set of 8, and in one case, let's say for a Bosch OEM Injectors, you might find, or you will find, that DG's ProTech is to be much more comparable price with just as good a quality, if not better, just as good and easily claimable warranty for you, the customer. Another example of this comes when we get to turbochargers. When we get to turbochargers, and you know guys, everything nowadays is becoming turbocharged. I don't care if it's gas or diesel. These types of parts, you're gonna find yourself going back and forth the dealer for, and that's something you don't need to. You can call DG's ProTech and we have a full line of catalogs with all the OEM supplied parts and cross-reference charts to the parts you need for your application. Now, in the case of the turbocharger you see in front of me, this application, just for example, one we had in stock, is a Garrett turbocharger for a 2011 to current Ford chassis cab 6.7 liter Power Stroke. Interesting enough, Garrett makes this turbo for Ford Motor Company. So begs the question, why not just go directly to Garrett? And that's exactly what we do. Beauty of this is going to come with a 2-year unlimited mileage kilometer warranty, just like the OEM. Beauty of this is going to be we have it in stock and we know that the quality is second to none because Garrett makes this for the OEM. We wholesale these to you, the customer. Next day delivery is available, same day for picking it out of our stock, and you've got a product that you're happy to put in your customer's vehicle or your own vehicle and down the road you go. Now, what about the other packages that go along with that? If you're dealing with your OEM dealer, you're gonna find yourself needing a ton of gaskets to do sudden repair. We have the ability to put these gaskets into a kit. So now you're buying 2 part numbers, one for the turbocharger itself, one for, let's say, the kit, and you're down the road instead of having to fumble with your drain tube gaskets, your intake gaskets, your exhaust gaskets. In the case of this one, your non-reusable clamps and other hardware that's gonna come in one kit just like that. Bonus, you're putting it in the kit, you're gonna save some money on combined parts like that, and that's another good thing. Want to talk about the small insignificant parts you might find. So in this case, we got a regulator, or you know, what happens when you need to make a repair to those small parts you can never find or the dealers don't offer. In this case, a plastic hard shell injector connector. In another case, what we call a sensor pigtail. Now again, these are coming from the direct suppliers that make them for the OEM. A part like this that makes the job go oh so smooth might be less than $5. And remember, we have dozens of them in stock. You may ask, why do we know what to stock and what to have? Beauty of that answer is, remember, we started life and still every day have a full automotive shop that is doing these repairs in our own house. Calling on our expert parts and service team, you might find very simple to you to pick up some free information. Oh, you're doing this part right here, the replacement. You know, you're gonna need this gasket and this, and you might wanna consider this as well, because we find a lot of times those parts are worn in that same area. Packaging your products into one kit means that it's one-stop shopping. Means that you're in, you're fixed, your key is turned, you're down the road. We have all the extensive information you need for your warranty concerns, if there are any, which there shouldn't be because you're using good quality parts. And that's the bonus of it, right? So I wanna make sure you're hitting on this. DG's is wholesaling parts to you, the customer, to make your repair smooth and easy so that your customer can be down the road or yourself down the road. All right, so I'm sure we're a technician like me and you've had the same problem I did, which is you call the dealer and it's 100 questions and you know the part you need. But let's say this is only dealer service part and there is no aftermarket. You know, touch base for a second, the so infamous Dodge or Chrysler TIPM or totally integrated power module. You're gonna want that to come right from your OEM dealer, but you don't wanna deal with the OEM dealer. DG's ProTech has stateside suppliers that can get us OEM supplied products in OEM original equipment parts boxes. So we're not talking knockoffs here. You know, in the case of the big three, we've got our Mopar, we've got our Ford, right? We've got our AC Delco or GM. We have actual OEM part numbers and OEM boxes that are OEM parts at a much better break-in price to the customer. Again, it's about that one-stop shopping. If we can combine those OEM parts with the gasket kits or other parts that you need to make that a complete repair, because that's what we need, we have the ability to do all that as well. And that's a big bonus with our catalog system, is the fact that, remember, we've done this so we know exactly what you need for your year, make, model to get it done. I'll give you another example quickly. The very infamous Borg-Warner box. Well, Borg-Warner is a turbocharger company, and in this box, we have a very common, very small turbocharger. What's the application for that? Well, that would be your F-150 EcoBoost turbocharger. Notice it did not come out of a Ford box, remembering because Borg-Warner in the turbocharger manufacturer is making this for Ford, and we can offer this pretty item to you at about $200 under what the dealer retail price would be. If you're a wholesale guy, you can remember that same margin is going to be built in that for you. Remember, you're getting OEM quality because these guys make it for the OEM. You're getting OEM warranty and you're getting DG's technical product knowledge on your side to back that whole repair start to finish. So, cataloging, check. OEM parts, check. Aftermarket parts that are the original OEM equipment, check. Individual small parts, oil coolers, injection components, turbochargers, those individual small parts, connectors, sensors, hard shells, harnesses, we've got it, or we have a supply for it. So when you're in need of wholesale OEM supply parts, make sure DG's ProTech is your first call or message. Remember, you can catch all of our contact information at DG'sProTech.com. You can catch us at the good old-fashioned phone, 519-418-AUTO, or catch us on any one of our social media platforms at DG's ProTech. So from all of our team, remember to give us a call, ask for parts in this case, we'll get you hooked up. Thanks a lot, guys.